Okay, welcome everybody who is starting to filter into our virtual space here. We have a good group with us this afternoon, so we will give it just a moment so people can come on in to our space here to learn a little bit more about the University of Wisconsin La Crosse. So with that, I will just share a few brief housekeeping pieces as you're starting to come on in here. First things first, we do want to welcome you to the Virtual College Exploration for all Wisconsin students, sponsored by the Wisconsin Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. And we're very, very excited that you're coming here again to learn a little bit more about the University of Wisconsin La Crosse. Just a couple of pieces that you're going to see on the screen that is up here in front of you. If you do want to ask questions, do know that you absolutely can throughout. We are in a webinar format though, so you can't utilize your camera or microphone, but feel free to put questions into that Q&A icon that you're going to be seeing on the screen in front of you. Feel free to put those in, and our wonderful presenters will go about addressing those throughout our presentation and at the end as well. We will be going about 45 minutes. If you do want to access a recording of this, you want to revisit some of the wonderful information here, do know that you will be able to access that by going to wacac.com following our session. And that's also where you can sign up for any more sessions throughout the rest of the evening here on the last day of our virtual college exploration week. So with that, I will go about turning it over to our wonderful presenters from UWL.
All right, hello. Hello, everyone. So good evening. Welcome to the presentation. My name is Nicholas Gordon, and I'm one of the new freshman admissions counselors here at UW La Crosse. I'll be your presenter today. And we also have here Janelle.
Hi, and I'm Janelle Street. I'm one of the new freshman admissions counselors as well, and I'll be helping moderate. So as Nicholas gets talking, please ask questions. We will stop midway if there's a ton of questions, or we'll have time at the end to answer your questions as well. So it's kind of a fun format that you can, as you're going, throw out questions about the residence halls or different things that you want to hear more of. So we're excited that you're here today.
All right, perfect. So I'll get started. Thank you again for just being here with us today. As I said, my name is Nicholas Gordon. I'm one of the new freshman admissions counselors. And today we're kind of going over what we consider our facts and furious presentation. So this is kind of a shorter presentation than we'd normally do if we had our students on campus, even though, you're going to be here with us virtually. Hopefully you will get the chance to come and visit us on our campus. We are currently having visitors, so please feel free to go on our website and sign up, and we will definitely be able to host some visitors there as well. So I'll just get the presentation started here, and we will get started. Perfect. So let's get started here. If we're talking about La Crosse, right? Well, let's start by talking about the city of La Crosse. City of La Crosse has about 52,000 people, right? We're the largest city on the western border of the state of Wisconsin. We're right on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota. From campus, you can actually be in Minnesota in about 5 minutes. It's just, a drive downtown across the Cass Street Bridge. So we have 52,000 people. We're the largest city on the western border of the state. But at any given time during the school year, there are about 18,500 college students. So the city of La Crosse is a college town, right? About 18,500 college students. And those students go to one of the 3 colleges in town, whether that's the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, right? Which is us, which is a 4-year public university, or Viterbo University, which is a 4-year private Catholic university, or Western Technical College, which is a 2-year public technical college. So at any given time during the school year, there are about 18,500 college students. It is a college town. But what does that even mean, right? La Crosse is a college town because there's so many benefits to being a college student in La Crosse. For example, I could probably name 3 or 4 restaurants that could, you could get a discount for having your student ID. If you wanted to go downhill skiing, for example, we have the Mount La Crosse, which is where the state ski and snowboarding championships has been held for the past couple of years. You could get a college student discount doing that as well. If you wanted to go to the movie theater, you could go to the Marcus Cinemas on Thursdays or go to the Rib on a Wednesday to go to the movie theater. If you wanted to get a part-time job, for example, chances are your bosses would understand and be able to schedule you around your classes because most of the people in town your age are going to be college students. So those are just some of the benefits to being a college student in a college town. Now, La Crosse is very well known for its physical beauty. Some of those pictures that you're seeing there, that's taken from our Granddad Bluff. That is the highest point in the city of La Crosse. When you're driving around in La Crosse, you'll notice we're right on the Mississippi River. Their towering bluffs are just really big hills. It's a very beautiful area. We are very well known for that physical beauty. Because of all those different things, you can, anything that you can think of doing outside, you can probably find it in La Crosse. You can go hiking, biking. There's downhill skiing, like I mentioned at Mount La Crosse. You can go kayaking or canoeing. Our students will actually rent kayaks and canoes from our outdoor connections on our campus at our rec center and go down to the Mississippi River or the Kickapoo River and go kayaking and canoeing. Obviously, we're right on the Mississippi, so you can go fishing when it's warm or ice fishing in the wintertime as well. So lots of opportunities for students to participate in the great outdoors. Now, incoming freshmen are allowed to bring their cars on campus. A limited number of freshmen will be able to, but you don't absolutely need your car in the city of La Crosse because we have a couple different ways for students to get home. We have the ride board, which as you can see is basically where the student with a UWL email address will be able to access that. And for example, a student with a car will post and say, hey, I'm going to the Twin Cities this weekend. I'm going to Milwaukee. I'm going to Madison. I'm going to Chicago. Does anyone need a ride? And another student will respond to that, and those 2 students will figure out what time they're leaving, when they're coming back, and potentially figure out gas money there too. We also have an Amtrak train station right in town there. It's less than a mile from campus, goes to most major metropolitan areas. Then we have the Badger bus lines and Jefferson bus lines right there as well. For the Badger bus lines, if you're in Wisconsin, goes to all the UW schools. It leaves from our student union right on our campus. For the Jefferson bus lines, it is a Minnesota company. You can get all over the United States. You can get to 13 different states. You can get up to Canada, down to Mexico on the Jefferson bus line. So lots of opportunities for students to get out. And then we also have a regional airport, just upgraded from 2 to all of 4 gates. So still a pretty small airport, shouldn't get lost. And just so you know, it's not necessarily a suitcase campus. There are lots of students on our campus during the week, also on the weekends. So a lot of students will stay on campus, but just in case you do want some opportunities to get home and you don't have a car, we certainly have other opportunities for students to get home if they don't bring their cars to campus. Just so you know, students, definitely encourage you to follow us on social media. If if you want to learn more about UW La Crosse, feel free to follow us. We have all the most popular ones there as well. Now, UW La Crosse, we've been around for over 100 years. We were open in 1909. Hopefully, after this virtual tour, you'll be inspired to come and visit our beautiful campus. You'll be able to see that even though we've been there for over 100 years, our campus is pretty modern. And we've been ranked, highly ranked. We are a highly ranked university. We've been ranked in Kippinger Magazine's top 100 best value schools in the nation. Also, we're number 3 on the US News and World Report for Midwest public universities. And now these rankings aren't the most important things, but it's just nice to know that other people that are not affiliated with UW-La Crosse also think that we are a good university. And hopefully after this presentation and you do your due diligence and start, researching us, or you come to visit our campus, you'll start to look at UW-La Crosse as an amazing place for yourself as well. Now, let's talk about campus information. UWL is a mid-sized university. That means we have just over 10,500 total students, but most of our students, more than 90% of our students, are undergraduate students, right? So students like many of you here today that are looking to get that very first bachelor's degree. That's kind of most of our students on our campus. We have a freshman class size from last year of 2,200 students, just under 2,200 students, and that's kind of where we'd like to stay. Every year we get between 6,000 and 7,000 applications for those 2,200 students there. We have an average class size of a 28 with a 19-to-1 student faculty ratio, which just means that for every 19 students on our campus, we have at least one faculty member, one professor. That makes it so much easier for students to connect with their professors, right? To ask questions in those classes. And the research does show that students that can ask questions and connect with their professors graduate at much higher rates, and they're much more successful in college. Now, that 28 as an average class size doesn't mean that you won't have any larger classes, right? So you may potentially have, for example, a biology lecture or something like that with more students, with 75 to 125 students. But that will always be followed up with a lab of between 15 and 25 students in that classroom. Just under 30% of all the classes taught at UW-La Crosse are under 20 students. More than 90%, more than about 91% of all of our over 1,500 classes that are taught at UW-La Crosse are under 50 students as well. So even as a first-year student, you'll be getting a lot of those smaller class sizes. You may have an English speech class with anywhere between 15 and 18 students in that class, even within your first semester at UW-La Crosse. We are a residential university, so incoming freshmen are required to live on campus. About 97% of our freshmen live on campus. 3% that don't is because they're already from in and around the city of La Crosse. We have 10 different residence halls. We call them residence halls. You might know them as dorms, but we have 10 different residence halls. 9 of them incoming freshmen are allowed to live in. There's only one that's for upperclassmen, and that's Reuter Hall. That's an apartment style residence hall. But the other 9 incoming freshmen are allowed to live in. Most of those residence halls would be, what you'd consider traditional residence halls. So just like you'd imagine or see on TV, with 2 students to 1 room, right? With most of those rooms on 1 floor with 1 main shared bathroom. But we do have some non-traditional residence halls as well, right? We have Eagle Hall, for example, which is a suite style residence hall, much larger rooms in Eagle Hall. There are 3 students in 1 room, 3 students with 2nd room, and then those 2 rooms or 6 students share 1 bathroom. Incoming freshmen really tend to like Eagle Hall. It is our it is our newest residence hall with larger rooms and also updated amenities such as air conditioning. All of our residence halls are co-ed. Some of them are co-ed by floor, some of them are co-ed by wing, and then we do have one Sanford Hall that is a residence hall that's co-ed by door. We also have gender inclusive housing available at UW-La Crosse as well. Now, I mentioned earlier that, we have been around for over 100 years, but there's just tremendous growth that has been happening on our campus. Lots of great things that have been happening at UWL, and hopefully when you do get to come and visit our campus, you'll get to see some of these new things. For example, the student union. Our student union, we still call it our new student union. We just moved in there in January of 2017, so less than 4 years ago. I kind of describe it like our campus living room. Right? Students will utilize our student union just like I would or you would our living rooms at home. They'll go there, they'll grab a bite to eat. There are 10 different restaurants in the student union. They'll go there to hang out with friends. There are pool tables, basketball stuff, air hockey on the lower level of the student union. They'll watch TV. There's a movie theater on the lower level of the student union where students will watch movies for free on the weekends, and they call it free movie weekends, right? So students will go there to watch TV, for example, watching those movies. They may go there to take a nap in the Cove. There's some comfortable seating in there. So a lot of our students will just treat that like a living room. No classes are currently taught in that building, but the student union just moved in there less than 4 years ago. Pretty new space. That's where the admissions office is on campus as well. The Prairie Springs Science Center, that's our new $82 million science building on campus. We just opened that building in the fall of 2018, so just 2 years ago as well. It has 36 different performance labs, 23 research labs for a total of 59 labs. There are even 3 cadaver labs in that building, for example. So our undergraduate students who are interested in working, in anatomy and physiology will get some of that hands-on experience working with those cadavers. The largest class size in that building is about 24 seats, with a lot of those classes being about 15 seats as well. The lab space inside the Prairie Springs Science Center, you're thinking about equivalent the size of 3 football fields. So just think about that. Lots of space for science labs, even though it's awesome for our science students, for our science majors. Any student that's taking a science class with a lab component will be able to have a class in that building. So if you're taking a science class with a lab, that's where your labs will be. As I said, state-of-the-art building, $82 million we just spent on that new building just over 2 years ago as well. Then the Recreational Eagle Center, or Rec Center addition, that is basically your campus gym. A lot of our students will utilize that space. In there, students will go there to lift weights. There's a fitness center. We just added 30,000 square feet to our fitness center so that more students could utilize it at the same time. We're talking about students going there to lift weights, use the climbing wall, play basketball, racquetball. There's a running track on the upstairs of the rec center, as well as treadmills there as well. Every student can use that. All you need is your student ID, and that's already included in your tuition. And that, we just added that addition in the fall of 2018 as well. Then the student field house. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I'm also an assistant track coach here at UW-La Crosse. I'm really excited about our new student field house. Construction actually just started a couple weeks ago, and it should be done in the fall of 2022. So just over 2 years from now, in the new student field house, there will be a new indoor track, and so our track team will be able to host indoor conference championship meets, as well as indoor national championship meets to support the outdoor championship meets that we host at UW-La Crosse as well as the state meet that we host every year at our outdoor track. We'll also have volleyball courts inside our new student field house where our volleyball teams will be able to play, but more importantly, we'll have additional space for intramural sports. So not just our athletic teams will be able to benefit from our student field house, but our entire student body, because we'll have additional space so that all of our students will be able to host intramural sports inside the student field house. And then finally, Whittick Hall. Whittick is our second oldest building on campus, right? Whittick was opened in 1916, and you can imagine when it was opened back then, it was a state-of-the-art building. But, it is a historic building, so we weren't allowed to knock it down. But what we've done is completely gutted the insides and renovated it. And our College of Business Administration just moved into Whittick Hall this fall. So this is where all the business courses, or if you're a business major coming to UW-La Crosse, great building. This is kind of a picture of what it looks like right now. It is awesome in there as well. And these are just some of the pictures, some of the new things that are happening on campus. I just want you to know that even though we've been around for over 100 years, we're a pretty compact campus. You can walk from anywhere on campus to anywhere else in 8 minutes or less. But tremendous growth has been happening on campus. Lots of new buildings, lots of new stuff. It is an amazing time to be an Eagle. All right. At UW-La Crosse, we have what are called colleges and schools, right? We have over 120 different programs, majors, minors, areas of interest. We have a lot of great programs to choose from here at UW-La-Crosse. Even if you're not quite sure what you're interested in, or you know exactly what you're interested in, just know that all of our programs are divided into these colleges and schools. So for example, the College of Business Administration, that's where all of our business programs are, right? So we're talking about some great programs such as accountancy. UW-La-Crosse has one of the highest first-time pass marks on the CPA exam, which is to become a certified public accountant in the nation. So not just in Wisconsin or the Midwest, but in the nation. Our CBA is internationally accredited by the AACSB, which is the Association to Advance the Collegiate Schools of Business. It's the most rigorous accreditation that a business school can get. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying once you get your business degree from UW-La-Crosse, it will be internationally recognized. We have other great programs such as management, marketing, finance, which is one of our top 5 most popular majors at UWL as well. So as I said, CBA, College of Business Administration, that's where all of our business programs are. Our College of Arts, Social Sciences, and Humanities, that's where all of our social sciences and humanities programs are, such as psychology. That is our second most popular major at UW-La-Crosse as well. Depending on what you want to do, if you want to become a school psychologist, you want to go on to become a psychiatrist, lots of opportunities. We have a lot of different courses and a lot of different opportunities for students to pursue their passions in psychology. Also in the College of Arts, Social Sciences, and Humanities, or CASH for short, we also have archaeology. It's a great program. One of 2 schools in the Midwest with that archaeology program. We are ranked the #2 archaeology program in the nation. So students, if you want to get back to your younger days when we were digging in dirt, lots of opportunities to do that. We do have a great archaeology program at UW-La-Crosse, and you can certainly pursue that to further your deals there as well. We also have some other great programs such as psychology, as I said, sociology, all the foreign languages are in CASH. So if you're interested in doing any of those languages, those are in the College of Arts, Social Sciences, and Humanities. The School of Visual and Performing Arts have great programs such as our Art, Music, and Theater program, our School of Education, kind of self-explanatory with our education program there as well. When we first opened in 1909, we only had 1 program, and that was education. We're still doing it over 100 years later. Obviously, we've expanded since then. We have over 120 now, but education is still very dear to us. And then finally, the College of Science and Health. That is our largest college. A lot of our students are in the College of Science and Health. We have some popular programs in there, such as biology, which is our most popular program here at UW-La-Crosse, and then exercise and sports science, otherwise known as kinesiology. That's our 3rd most popular program. We have some other great programs such as physics, chemistry, lots of opportunities for students in terms of programs. So these are, the different colleges and schools. If you know what it is that you're interested in, you can find them in these. But even if you're not, just know that you can search our different programs within these colleges and schools. Now, I'm going to play a short video for you here just to give you some information about our professors. We have lots of programs at our university, but one of the best things about UW-La-Crosse are the wonderful professors and the staff that we have available to help our students to be successful. So here's one of our professors. Hopefully you enjoy the video.
I'm a professor in the biology department. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my classes I teach, and then my research, and then just a little bit about La-Crosse in general. So we're going to do this in 3 stages. So the first part here, we're on Lake Onalaska. This is part of the Mississippi River. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the classes I teach. So I do a first-year seminar course, and one of the goals in that is to help students develop the skills they're going to need to be successful in college. But most of the classes I teach are upper level, so molecular biology, radiation biology, bioinformatics, and a pathology pharmacology course. And the goal of these is to help students get ready for their careers. So whether that goes into research in graduate school, if they're going on to medical school, or radiation therapy, something like that. So our students, all of our classes that we have are taught by faculty, and even the labs are taught by faculty, so the students get spend a lot of time with faculty, more than they would in a lot of larger universities. So that's it for this stage, and we'll take you to the prairie next. So we're in a prairie because We do our research on 13 line ground squirrels. This is where they live. And what we study in them is how they avoid forming blood clots when they hibernate. When they hibernate, their heart rate drops to just a few beats per minute. And we have a grant from the National Institute of Health to research this. So students in my lab do a whole bunch of different assays to try to look at blood clotting and what inhibits the blood clotting in these squirrels. And doing undergraduate research is actually a really big part of being at UW-La Crosse. So I'm actually the director for undergraduate research and creativity for the campus. And students on our campus can do undergraduate research for credit. They can write grants, they can work with mentors on projects and present the result at conferences. So it's a really great opportunity to get involved in your field and get a lot of experience and great letters of recommendation for the next stage in your life. Up here in Hickson Forest, it's about 800-acre city park, 20 miles of mountain bike and ski and hiking trails. And we're just a half a mile from campus, so it's a great place to come out and stretch your legs, get a breath of fresh air. And if you look right down behind me here, you can see the football stadium. Right behind that's Prairie Springs Science Center. That's where my research lab is. And we hope to see you here again next year or sometime in the future.
All right. So that's just some information there. So we have wonderful professors. As I said, we have over 120 different programs, majors, minors, areas of interest. We have some great professors at our university to help our students to be successful, but we also have some great staff. And those staff are in the student services that are there to help our students to be successful. These are just some of them. I won't go into too much detail, but for example, every student that comes to UW-La Crosse will be given an academic advisor. Those advisors' jobs are to get to help the students to select their majors to help them to be successful. UW-La Crosse has a previous retention rate of over 84%, which means our retention rate, which is students that continue from their first year into their second year, and that is way above the national average of 62%. And a lot of that has to do with the great programs that we have available, the professors that are there for our students, but more importantly, those great student services, the people on our campus that are there to help our students to be successful. We have the Office of Multicultural Student Services there for our students of color on our campus, helping them with additional levels of advising, as well as additional opportunities such as scholarship opportunities, academic opportunities, financial aid opportunities, lots of those on our campus as well. As I said, these are just some of the student services. I typically recommend that students seek out different student services, whether or not you're gonna come to UW-La Crosse or you're gonna go elsewhere, because the fact is universities pay people money to help their students to be successful. These are just some of the ones that we have available at UW-La Crosse. Now, feel free to contact us if you have any more questions about any of these student services later. Now, we're getting closer to the end of the presentation. Let's, switch gears and start talking about the academic side, new freshman admissions, right? What does it take for a high school student to get into UW-La Crosse? Now, at UWL, we have what are called primary factors and secondary factors, right? So primary factors are going to be the most important things that we look at when a student is applying, is submitting their application. They're the first and the most important things that we're looking at. As you can see, coursework rigor. It means that the classes that a student is taking in high school, we want to see students who are challenging themselves in high school. We're talking about different math classes, science classes, college level credit classes. If you're taking any AP or IB classes or CIS classes, college and schools classes, if you're from Minnesota, or any foreign languages, those are the very first things that we look at when a student is submitting their application. The second thing we look at would be your class rank and your grades, right? Now, first of all, we understand that not every school does a class rank, and even for the ones that do a class rank, some schools are larger than others, right? We've had students from Texas with a senior year class size of, 2,000. We've had students, our director of admissions has had a student from Wisconsin with a senior year class size of 2, right? So we are taking those class sizes into consideration. For the student with a class size of 2, luckily, our director was working with the valedictorian of that class, so it made things a little bit easier. That's a joke, but that's just to say we are taking those class sizes into consideration there. Those are the two most important things that we look at, but they're not the only things. We also have secondary factors, and those secondary factors include the ACT or SAT test scores. And as you can see in parentheses, those are now optional. So a student can decide whether or not they want us to use their ACT or SAT test scores for admissions purposes. So you don't absolutely have to submit an ACT or SAT test score. And if you do, we'll consider that as a part of the secondary factors. Then extracurricular activities and any demonstrated leadership. So if you're in any clubs, organizations, sports, if you have a part-time job, there is an opportunity to put that on the application for admission. And then if you have any leadership, demonstrated leadership at any of those, so let's say you're the captain of a softball team, or you're the supervisor or manager at your part-time job, you have that opportunity to put that on the application. Also on the application, there are 2 essays, and those are part of the secondary factors. And then letters of recommendation, those are optional. You don't absolutely have to submit those, but if you do choose to, we accept a maximum of 2, and we prefer those to come from your high school teachers or counselors. Now, we'll take a combination of those primary factors and secondary factors and make an admissions decision, right? But the primary factors are going to be the most important things. The secondary factors won't make up for any major deficiencies in those primary factors, but if a student's like borderline on one of those primary factors, we'll start to take the secondary factors into consideration there. Now I want you to look at this table. On the left, you'll see the minimum requirements for students to be admitted, but I want you to focus on the right. The average student that gets admitted to UW-La Crosse will have 4 years of the key subjects. We're talking about 4 years of English, 4 years of math, science, social sciences, or history, and then 3 years of a foreign language. A foreign language is not a requirement to be admitted to UW-La Crosse, but foreign language to us just shows rigor. But likewise, if one student's taking AP biology, for example, and another student's taking Spanish 3, we just consider both students to be taking rigorous courses without any real preference there. So that just gives you an example of what the average student that gets admitted to UW-La Crosse will have. Now, if you are a senior or a rising senior, going to be a senior this fall, the application is currently open. Application opened on August 1st, and we have a priority date until February 1st. It is not a deadline. We're still admitting students after February 1st, but at that point, it's on a space available basis. You can access the application. It's the UW system application. You can access it at this website right here, apply.wisconsin.edu. That is the only place you can go to access the application. We are not on the Common App. So it's apply.wisconsin.edu. We require 3 or 4 things for a complete application, right? 3 or 4. The UW system application, which as I said, you can access at apply.wisconsin.edu. The application fee, which is $25, your high school transcript, and then your ACT or SAT test scores, which is optional. So that's why I said 3 or 4 things. Once you complete your application, you can expect an admissions decision in the mail within 3 to 5 weeks. So we won't wait till, December 20th to submit your application, to submit your, admissions decision if you complete your application by next week, for example. So 3 to 5 weeks after you complete your application, you'll get your admissions decision. Now, here you're looking at the overall cost of attendance. Let's just talk about money for Wisconsin and Minnesota residents. This is the total cost of attendance. This includes your tuition, room, meals. It won't include different things like if you wanted to get a late night pizza, or if you're going to the mall to buy some new shoes or something like that. But your tuition, room, and meals, this is the price per year. You're looking at $16,014 there for Wisconsin and Minnesota residents. For the Midwest exchange tuition rate, which is an academically competitive tuition rate. So it's kind of like a merit scholarship, and it's limited. So not every student will get that. With the tuition, room, and meals, the total cost is $19,163. The non-resident tuition rate is $24,833 for the total cost, including the tuition, room, and meals, right? At UW-La Crosse, your tuition does come with certain benefits. So I want you to consider some of those things. For example, 12 to 18 semester credits. So that means that whether or not you're taking 12 credits or 18 credits, you're looking at paying the same price. So on average, you're looking at 4 to 6 classes of paying the same price, right? Whether or not you took 4 or 6 classes, you're paying the same price. A lot of our students take advantage of that tuition structure, that credit structure, and they'll take more credits and graduate earlier, which ends up saving them money in the long run. However, a lot of our students will also take more credits, add another major, add another minor, and that's how they make themselves more competitive for when they're ready to apply for a job or apply for grad school once they graduate. Also included in your tuition is going to be your textbooks, right? Here at UW La Crosse, you don't buy your textbooks, you rent them, and that's already included in your tuition there, included in the cost. And if you know anything about textbooks, you know they're really expensive. That could save you anywhere from $500 to thousands of dollars throughout your time in college. So that's definitely something to take into consideration when you're looking at different schools, or you're comparing different schools, or comparing the prices between different schools, whether or not your textbooks are included, because that will be a difference whether or not you're saving money on those textbooks like you are at UW La Crosse. Also included in your tuition is access to the rec center, which is, as I said, the campus gym. All you need is your student ID. That's already included in your tuition. Access to your student ID works as a city bus pass, so you can ride in and around the city of La Crosse. You can get out to Onalaska, lots of opportunities, so you can get downtown, all those different places on the city bus, and that's already included in your tuition. Access to the student health center. So if you got sick, reduced rates on a lot of different things. So if you got sick, you needed to see a nurse, a doctor, physical therapist, a lot of those things are already included in your tuition. And then finally, also admissions to regular season athletic events. So if the track team, hint, hint, is having a track meet, come support us. Your student ID will get you into any of those track teams, the basketball teams, football teams. If they're having any home games, you can get to go to those for free because that is already included in your tuition. Lots of opportunities for students. We understand that college is not free, right? But we do our best to make it pretty reasonable. As you can see, for Wisconsin and Minnesota residents, just over $16,000 there. The Midwest Exchange, $19,163. And then the non-resident total cost of attendance, $24,833. For more than a decade, we've been ranked in Kippinger Magazine's top 100 best value schools in the nation, right? More than a decade. For 19 years in a row, we've been ranked in the top 100 best value schools in public schools in the nation. We're also ranked in U.S. News and World Report as the number 3, Midwest public university. And quite recently, we were ranked as the number 16 for ROI, which is return on investment. That means the money that you're spending for your college education and what you're getting in return, right? So a lot of that has to do with, what those benefits in your tuition. So those 12 to 18 semester credits, your textbook rental, your access to regular season athletic events, recreational Eagle Center. But a lot of that also has to do with the wonderful professors that we have available at our university, as well as those, student services, the wonderful staff that allows our retention rate to be well above the national average. I think that UW La Crosse is an amazing place. I'm pretty sure that, Janelle also thinks that UW La Crosse is an amazing place, but we work there, right? It's nice to know that other people also think that UW La Crosse is an amazing place. Hopefully after today's virtual presentation, you'll, have the courage to come and visit us on campus. As I said, we are having visitors on our campus. You can set up a tour. You can set up an admissions information session. Otherwise, you can definitely check out our virtual campus tour here at this website. And now I will open it up for questions.
Awesome. Great job. We did have a couple questions throughout the presentation. So one was just talking about different clubs and activities. So intramurals is the most popular thing on our campus. So there's like 1,300 intramural teams, and those could be super competitive, like there's A leagues, or there's just kind of chill and meet and friend leagues. We are Division III athletics, so Nicholas and I are both involved in athletics. So if you have any questions about coaches or tryouts or any of those things, I'm actually one of the basketball coaches too, so that's an awesome opportunity. But I also have girls on my team that are in the choir, and we had a young lady asking about theater. So anything like that, if you have specific questions. Additionally, there was questions about the ACT, and from our standpoint, you all have been through enough stress with all this pandemic and everything going on. So the ACT, SAT, if you do not submit it this year, it's not going to work against you. If you like your score, definitely submit it. But that's something we just want to take that stress off you, and it won't work against you this year. But if you like your score, definitely submit it. So it's totally up to you individually as a family. But you can reach out to Nicholas or myself. Either our emails on the admission side if you have specific questions, but we'd love to get in touch with you. Or if you have additional questions, we'll hang out for a minute. A couple other things I was thinking of was different scholarships. So our students do an okay job with scholarships, but there's a lot of opportunity on our campus. So either merit-based scholarships, and that just comes off your GPA and comes from the admissions office, or your test score, either of those. There's foundation scholarships, so that our alumni have donated back $1.2 million. So that's every year, February 1st, you can apply for those. And then additionally, there's a scholarship resource center. So that's something, it's more, do you like coffee? Write an essay for $1,000, those type of things. But great opportunities if you do want to get that price even further down. So that's one thing. And additionally, Nicholas, you mentioned just with credits, like 70% of our students come in with some type of credit. So whether that's retroactive credit that we talked about a little bit with your languages, and that comes off your placement tests, AP credit, PSEO, all that. So we do a great job with that as well. But we'll hang out for a couple of minutes. If you do have any questions, please put it in the Q&A. But we're super excited that you were with us today. And Nicholas's energy made me excited, and I get to go to work there every day. But it's a pretty cool place, and we would love to see you on our campus. We're doing information sessions 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 times a day, and now the next 8 Saturdays starting in September. So if there is an opportunity for you to come on campus, we're going to do up to 6 per Saturday just to. Our demand is great right now. We were just named number 2 out of the 26 UW system schools. I'm right behind that big UW-Madison. So we're excited, and come visit us at La Crosse. It's a pretty special place. Thought for sure we get some athletic question, nothing.
Yeah.
We have awesome club sports too, equestrian, downhill skiing, water skiing. Powerlifting is super popular right now.
Yeah. All right, if there aren't any more questions, just want to thank you thank you for taking the time out of your evening to be here with us and, listening to us in this conversation. Thank you. Hopefully, as I said, this is a virtual presentation. This is kind of our facts and furious presentation. So it's meant to be short and quick. We also have in-person presentations on our campus. We're currently doing those presentations that are a little longer, a lot of this information, but a lot more information. So if you are interested in coming for a visit, we do have those admissions information sessions plus campus tours on our campus as well. So feel free, if you do have any questions, to send some more questions in the chat. Okay, yeah, so when is the best time to apply? We have a priority date of August 1st to February 1st, right? So it's not a deadline. We still admit students after February 1st, but we are looking at the best time to apply is, we think it's now. September to October is kind of the best time to apply because you're back in school, you have access to your counselor, you have access to your high school transcripts, so you can get all the help you need there. But it is, our priority date is from August 1st to February 1st, so it's equal consideration during that time. After February 1st, though, it is on a space available basis, so it does get a little bit more competitive at that point.
And one of the big benefits when you do come on campus, you're probably going to fall in love with one of the residence halls, maybe more than another, or if it's close to the dining hall, those type of things. So when you get accepted and when you put down your $100 enrollment deposit, that's kind of your spot in line. And then you get to request your residence halls in order of 1, 2, and 3. So a lot of our students do like that Eagle, or right in the middle of campus, there's a bunch because there's 10 different options, and you're never far away. But sometimes our students like a few other than another. So that is one of the benefits by getting accepted early. Additionally, right now we're super fast, and you're going to hear back from us in a week or 2 with your admission. If you start at about Thanksgiving, when a lot of other senior students do, it'll take us 6 to 8 weeks to get back to you with an admissions decision. So usually when you press submit, you want to know pretty quickly. So we're quick in September and October, but then November and December, we get a big chunk of those 7,000 applications. So just keep that in mind as well.
You're muted. Stripe scan.
Looks like we're muted there. Forgive me. Awesome. Yeah, that's how we need to end this. Forgive me. I do want to send a big thank you to our wonderful presenters and for all of you who have joined us this evening. Do just want to let you know there'll be a quick survey. Would love to get your feedback. And also do keep in mind that you can access recording afterwards by going to whacac.com. And know, again, if you want to go back and revisit some of the wonderful information you heard or share with friends as well, be sure to do that. And again, thank you everybody for attending this evening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.
All right. Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much.
having us.